All right, now we're going to go ahead and do some practice with Skills 1 Level 1. Okay, number 1, it goes ahead and find the slope of the line passing through each pair of points. Again, now that we know this equation of m is equal to y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. And we're going to go ahead and label my points first, and then we can go and plug and chug into my formula. So we're trying to find the slope of g and h. So same exact thing, I'm going to label this as x1, y1. This is my x2, y2. And then I'm going to go ahead and use that formula. So we have m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If I were to go ahead and plug and chug, we start with y2, which is negative 3, with y1, which is 2, x2, which is 5, and then we have an x1, which is 5, and then I can go ahead and keep on solving. So same exact process where I have negative 3 minus 2. This is actually taking away 2 more from the negative 3. So this becomes negative 5. All over 5 minus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, this is that special case where if we have anything divided by 0, this is going to be an undefined answer. Okay, so you could go ahead and use this little symbol, or you could say undefined. Okay, again, whenever it's divided by 0, this is an undefined answer. Same exact thing for number 2. I'm going to go and label x1, y1, x2, y2. I'm going to go and write down my formula always. So m is equal to y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. I can go and plug and chug my values. So I'm starting with y2, which is negative 8, minus my y1, which is 8. Then I'm going to start with my x2, which is 6, subtract it with my x1, which is a negative 2. And I can keep on solving. Okay, negative 8 minus 8, we're actually going to go and add the negative, so we get negative 16 all over 5, 6 minus negative 2. These negatives now become positive, so this is all over 8. Negative 16 divided by 8 gives me a value of negative 2. Okay. All right. Number 3 looks a little bit different. It's the same exact thing though. I'm going to go ahead and use my slope formula. Let's go ahead and label this one as x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. Same exact process where I'm going to go ahead and take my formula and go and plug in those values. So y2 is negative 4, minus y1 is 3. Okay, all over negative 9, minus my 6. And then I can keep going ahead and simplifying. This becomes negative 7 all over negative 15. Negative divided by negative gives me a positive. So I get 7 over 15. Okay, part B, same exact thing. I'm going to go ahead and label my points. This is x1, y1, and then we have x2, y2. Okay, I have m is equal to y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1, and then I just go ahead and plug my values in. Let me go ahead and change this to a different color. Okay, I'm going to start with my y2, which is negative 7. I'm going to subtract it with my y1, which is 1, all over my x2, which is 2, subtract it with my x1, which is a negative 5. Okay, let's go ahead and add the negative 1, so we get negative 8 all over 7. And this is my answer. This fraction cannot be reduced. My answer is negative 8 over 7. Okay. Now, just by looking at part C and D, right, this is a horizontal line. And we know what the slopes of a horizontal line is 0, but let's go ahead and double check. Okay, so this is going to be my x1, y1. Here's my x2, y2. Same exact thing. I'm going to start with my y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1, and I'm going to go and plug and chug those values in. So I'm going to start with my -4 minus my y1, which is also -4. And then I'm going to start with 6 minus my x1, which is a -7, and then I'm going to go ahead and solve it out. Okay. Negative times negatives gives me positive, so I'm really thinking -4 plus 4, which is 0. All over 6 plus 7 is 13. 0 divided by 13 gives me 0, which makes sense. That checks out. Okay. Similar to part C, we got part D. Right here, instead of a horizontal line, we are thinking of a vertical line. And we know that vertical lines have a slope, which is undefined. But again, let's go ahead and double check. Okay. So C is my x1, y1. D is my x2, y2. If I were to go ahead and use my formula, y2 is that -9 minus my y1, which is 6, all over my x2, which is 3, minus my x1, which is also 3. Right, this goes ahead and adds my negative, so we're dealing with a -9 plus -6, which is a -15, all over 3 minus 3, which is 0. Again, anything divided by 0 in this case gives me an undefined answer, which we know already because this was a vertical line. Okay. I'm going to highlight those answers. Cool. All right, number 4, it's just asking us to go ahead and sketch a line with all these different kinds of slopes. So if there is a 0 slope, right, we know that we have a horizontal line. So again, this is my horizontal line. Okay, a negative slope, that means we have a negative slope and a line that looks like that. Undefined slope, we know is a vertical line. And then positive slope is we're going up and up and up and up and up. Okay. So if I'm looking at number 5, it says use the graphs below to answer the following questions, right? The first question in part A is asking which graphs, there might be more than one, exhibit positive slope. So which of these graphs, graph 1, 2, 3, or 4, gives me a positive slope? Right? It looks like if I'm focusing on this type of graph, it looks like we have graph 1, graph 3, and graph 4. So I'm going to go ahead and list 1, 3, and 4. Then it's asking for part B, which one has a negative slope. So my answer, my graph should look like this. It looks like it's our odd one out, which is graph number 2. Okay. And the last problem says plot the following points and then draw a line between them. And then it's asking, are the slopes positive or negative? And what is the slope of the line? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plot these points. Let's go ahead and call this point A and this point B. So point A, we start at -3, -4. So again, this is my x1, y1, and then this is my x2, y2. If I'm looking at my coordinate plane, this is my y and this is my x-axis. So we're going to start with -3 first. So here is -3, and I'm going to go down to -4. So here's my first point, A. And then I'm going to go ahead and look at my point B, which we're going to start at 7. So this is 5, 6, here's 7. And we're going to go up to 4. So then there's my second point of B. Okay, and once I found those points, I can go and connect the lines. Now there's two ways to do this. You guys can go and look at the graphs and figure it out by using the rise over run tactic. However, like right now, if I'm looking at my graph, I'm like, I'm not so confident that I can go and pinpoint like distinctive points. Okay, but we could go ahead and use point A and B. So if we were going to go that route, I'm going to go ahead and go up first. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I'm going to go up 8, and it looks like I'm going to go right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to go right 10. So if I'm looking at my fraction, right, my rise over 1, I'm going to have 8 over 10. I can go ahead and go to my calculator, type that in, 8 divided by 10, and that gives me a fraction of 4 over 5. Okay, this is what it might be, right, by using my first method of looking at the graph and the points and doing rise over run. However, let's go ahead and first, I guess we didn't even talk about this. Circle 1, right? Positive or negative slope. My line is going positive, right? If we were to extend those lines, it would be a positive slope. So then now I can go ahead and check to see if we were correct with my estimation of 4/5, right? I can go ahead and use my midpoint form, or sorry, my slope formula. So we get m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Again, I'm pulling those points from over here. So my y2 looks like is 4. My y1 is a -4. And then my x2 is 7. And my x1 is a -3. Okay, so if I were to go ahead and zoom in over here, if I were to go ahead and keep going, 4 minus a -4, I have two negatives together, so they equal my positive. So this becomes an 8. Same exact thing, 7 minus a -3. These becomes positive, so I get 8 over 10. And we just did that over here, right? 8 over 10, that reduces to a fraction of 4 over 5. So we were right when we were looking at the first method of using the rise over the run. However, now we know our slope formula, in which we can go ahead and use this guy right here, and that gave me the same exact answer when using both methods. Okay.